right, welcome back, everybody. I know we're jumping from session to session. It's been a busy day so far. Yes, I see lots of people there. I see Melissa, and yeah, lots of folks are coming in. All right. All right, we'll get started. Thanks again for being here. The Training, Learning, and Development Community's AI Labs. It's our first time ever producing this particular event. And like I was telling Josh earlier, it's exciting for me because I've been just geeking out on AI for probably the last like 8 months or so. And this is a great way for just even me to learn more about tools and processes that folks are building and using. And I hope that you're benefiting also from watching these sessions. So welcome and thanks for supporting the event. So this next one, Josh is with, now Josh, do I pronounce it Land AI?
Yeah, Land AI. Yep.
Land AI. Josh is a vendor in the space, and I do want to mention it's really, really important that I think for this particular event that we did have some vendors, because I really think that in L&D in particular, vendors can be like more passionate and more innovative than anybody else. I have learned so much from going to expos and working with vendors in the past. And I think that hearing about Josh's product and his consulting business, I think I'm really excited about this particular presentation. Josh is going to be sharing 3 AI secrets for getting more done in less time. A little bit about Josh. He's had a 20+ year career in L&D in learning and organizational development. Author of the book The AI Edge: How L&D Professionals Can Leverage AI to Gain a Competitive Advantage. He's also the CEO and founder of Land AI, an AI employee training generation solution that can create e-learning training, career development programs, and PowerPoint slide decks in less than 2 minutes. That is amazing. So, Josh, I'm going to go ahead and hide myself from the screen and let you take it away.
Liz, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with your community here today. I'm seeing some folks in the chat that I recognize. Jody, good to see you. Cindy, thank you so much for connecting me to this incredible event. For those of you who are watching, I want you to tell me in the chat, what is your role? I want to make sure that we're giving you exactly, value that applies to where you're at. And so maybe let me know where you're coming from, what your role is, and we'll make sure we tailor this to the type of L&D role you in. Are we instructional designers mostly? Instructional designers, change training consultant, instructional designer. All right. So we got a lot of, obviously, some instructional designer, curriculum developer. Oh man, educational technologists, talent development managers. All right. I'm loving this. This is so cool. This is going to be an awesome time together. I'll just say, as we're getting started, those of us who work in L&D specifically, in instructional design, we get into this field because we want to help people. We want to help people develop. We want to empower them to live their best lives, specifically within the context of their professional lives. But I believe the majority of people that I meet in this space do it because they have a heart for people. They want to help people. They want to help them grow and develop. And yet, okay, let's just be honest about this for a moment. How many of you have been in situations where you're, within your division, and all of a sudden you're finding there's not enough resources? Maybe you're going through some budget cuts. Some of the spots that you're trying to get filled for, having team members, and it's really even tough right now with where the economy's at, to have the folks involved with, working in these different ways. And maybe in the chat, let me know, does it feel like sometimes that L&D departments don't get the priority? There's just not enough time, not enough resources. And so we have so much we're trying to juggle. And sometimes it can feel like we're, burning the candle at both ends. Let me know in the chat, how many of you have ever been there? Maybe you're there now. Maybe you've been there in the past. Maybe raise a hand, give me a heart. And Cindy says, I feel seen. I mean, the reality is, I'm not necessarily a tech guy who, is creating some solution for the L&D world. I'm an L&D guy. I'm with you. And we built a solution for our people. And the reality is, we want to be a help. We want to help in any way we can. And so we're just going to kind of run through a few things, and hopefully something that is shared will be of some value. Before I get started, I want to show you this photo of an extremely large line at an amusement park. And you say, well, what does that have to do with AI and L&D? We'll get to that in a moment, but don't forget about this because I think it's going to be really important. In about 10 minutes or so, I'll share with you why this is so specifically important. All right, so let's just kind of do this. For those of you who will stay around for the whole time, as was mentioned a moment ago, I'm the author of The AI Edge, How to Use Artificial Intelligence in Your Talent Development Department to Secure a Competitive Advantage. And so I'm going to share with you how you can get this book. In fact, if you'll do right now, if you'll go up to the message and direct message me your email and just kind of put it up there in the messages, we're going to do a raffle from those of you who share that with me. And if you'd like a chance to kind of get this book, that'll be something that hopefully will be a help. Also, for those of you who give me your address, I'm going to send you a bunch of resources, different AI solutions that I use personally for a lot of different applications. We obviously have one applications, but there are hundreds of great applications out there for L&D professionals. And I'm going to give you all of my favorites and I'm going to send that to you. And so if you'd like a list of those as well, I want to make sure that you get that. So let's maybe you can put those. I'm already seeing some messages come through, so I really appreciate you doing that. Real quick, let's look at what these 3 secrets are going to involve. Number 1 secret, how to get more work-life balance using NLP AI. You say, what's that? We'll talk about it in a minute. Secret number 2, how to use computer vision AI to spend more time on the things you're passionate about and less time doing the boring, mundane tasks. All right. How many of you in instructional design, there's just a lot of things that you just have to kind of trudge through, it's like a drudgery and you're like, man, I've got to spend hours trying to make slide decks and I have to do the research. And so how can we use computer vision AI to spend more time doing the things you're really passionate about? And maybe there's parts of your role that you absolutely love and then parts that are a little bit more difficult. And then number 3, how to cut costs and save money using machine learning AI tech. So I want to say this as we get started, and I want to allay some fears. There's a lot of people thinking to themselves, man, am I going to be out of a job, because of what's happening with AI? How many of you have had this thought? Be honest. As instructional designers, you're like, man, where's all this going to be? Anybody here watching your pen, how are we gonna have jobs in this field? And I want to say this, and maybe you've heard it before, but I'm a firm believer in it. I actually don't think AI is going to be taking our jobs anytime soon as instructional designers. But I will say this, all right? I do believe that people who are leveraging these AI solutions may end up getting a competitive advantage and taking the jobs of those who are not leveraging these tools and solutions. And I don't say that to scare anybody. I think the very fact that you're at this event shows that you're really in a place where you're on the cutting edge. You're not behind, you're learning. You're going to be the part of the group that excels. In fact, I think if you're here today and you're an instructional designer who's leaning into these AI solutions and tools, I actually think your value, your opportunities are going to exponentially increase because of how you're able to save time, be more efficient with some of these tools that are now emerging in the AI space. And so I'm extremely excited to be able to share some of these with you. Real quickly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you feel like you're doing leveraging AI tech? And so I'm looking in the chat here. Just kind of let me know where are we at? And I see several folks that are joining with us here. Julie, good to see you, Julie. And we've been able to connect a couple of times. We got 1, 2, 3s. Okay, 2, 6. Jada, 6, good. That's encouraging to hear. 5, Nola. 1, Janae. We're gonna help you, Janae. All right, we're gonna hopefully some of these things, Jeanette. You guys are in the right place, and I'm so glad that we set this up for us to be able to learn more about AI, and we're gonna really hopefully be of some help today. So let's just kind of dive in. Let me just, as an introduction, how are people using generative AI right now? And there's a whole lot of different applications. I will send you the specifics on these that I mentioned if you'll give me your email. All right, so let me just talk about some of them real quick. There are folks that are using artificial intelligence right now. Like for Zoom, there are entire solutions that allow your eyes to stay focused on your camera lens as you're on Zoom, even if you're looking away at notes. Like right now, I'm looking away and you can see my eyes. There are now AI applications that allow you to stay zoned in. It'll, no matter where you move your eyes, it'll keep your eyes, and it uses computer vision AI to do that. There are transcribers now that you can bring to your Zoom meetings, and it will transcribe the notes. My friend is developing a solution right now that you import it into your Zoom meetings, and it listens for the action items and puts it into your calendar or tasks list. So by the time you're done with the meeting, you don't have to take notes and then transfer it over to your task list. It integrates. That's one called spinach.io. So many incredible different solutions that can be used to do some fascinating things. How many of you have used it yet to do your headshots, for LinkedIn or something? And there are just incredible solutions that are used as L&D folks to really help us in this way. And so we want to make sure we get you these resources so you can direct message. Cindy, I saw that you put it in the public chat, and so that'll work too. But if you want to put it in the private chat, that could also help. Let me just really say this. I'm going to give you just 3 things as we're starting, because I want to just kind of give you some high-end stuff. 3 things that you want to think about when it comes to AI. Number 1, prompt engineering. Okay, we're not talking about development engineering, prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is kind of like, I like to use the analogy of back when we used to watch movies as a kid, and there would be some wizard that would say abracadabra, whatever the case may be. So the wizard would have this spell, and the spell would create the magic. A little bit, that's what we're doing with generative AI. We are prompting a spell with words, and then the AI is giving us some incredible magic from it. And just like in the movies when we were kids, you had to say it just right. Open sesame, abracadabra. There was these certain spells. If you didn't do it quite right, then the magic wouldn't be quite right. It's the same thing with generative AI. When you're putting in these spells, the better the spell, the better the magic, the better the outcome. And I've talked to people, and they're like, well, I've tried ChatGPT and it's okay. It's all right. I've seen some of this generative AI. It's all right. But if you learn prompt engineering, your prompts should be more than 3 or 4 words. They should be dozens and even hundreds of words, these spells, these prompts that you create that allow you to get these incredible results back. The magic comes back when you get really good at prompt engineering. So if you want more information on that, there's a chapter in my book all about prompt engineering for instructional designers and L&D professionals. And so that might be something that you want to look at there. The second thing I would say is fine-tuning your voice. How many of you have been in situations where you've been reading something online and you're like, man, this doesn't really sound like this individual. It's not the way they usually type. It's not the way they usually write. And it's like, wait a second, is this ChatGPT? And they just copied and pasted. That statement didn't have their tonality. It didn't have their style. And one of the second things I would encourage you to do, not just prompt engineer, you really need to learn how to fine tune your voice into AI. And we teach you how to do that as well here at Land AI, but looking at how to make your generative AI sound like you. So as it's creating content, it's not creating content in the way that it would sound for somebody else, but how would it be written in the way do you have more of a casual tone, more formal tone? There's all these different syntax. So that's the second thing I would say. Make sure you have fine-tuned your generative AI to speak and to communicate in your style. So that way, when you're using it for different things, it sounds like you. Number 3, let me give you another thing. All right. Number 3, integrate with your current solutions. So we talked about prompt engineering. We talked about fine-tuning your style of voice. Number 3, I would say, thirdly, make sure that you're integrating. All right. So that means all these AI tools, there's so many things that we can do to integrate with tools that we're already using, our calendars, our tasks list, Zoom, so many ways. Well, one of the best tools I have found to do this is Zapier. And so you can use Zapier. It'll help you integrate almost any of these tools into other tools or solutions. So that's one that's been really helpful when it comes to integrations, right? And this is how I'm seeing people use it. This is how people on our team are using it. I mean, there's literally now solutions that will code for you using AI. You say, hey, give me some JavaScript code for like computer coding to make a calculator, and the AI will literally create the back end code for a calculator or whatever the case may be. There's just incredible solutions, and there's a lot of different ways people are using this. If you send me a direct message with your email, I'll send you a list of all of my favorite ones of these. All right. So hopefully that'll be a small help there. So let's talk for just a moment. According to the study by the Boston Consulting Group and MIT Sloan Management, they said 84% of businesses say AI will enable them to obtain or sustain a competitive advantage. And I agree wholeheartedly. In fact, I'd put it above 84%. You know, if you jump onto these and kind of, you know, begin this process of really leaning into AI, you're going to get a competitive advantage. And this is whether you're an individual contributor, whether this is something that you're just kind of on your own as a consultant, or whether you're part of a company, you will start getting a competitive advantage. And the reverse is also true, that people who are not leaning into these tools, companies that are not leaning into these, will start to lose some of their competitive advantage. And it is so important. Like I said, AI is not going to take your job. AI is not going to be the thing that pushes your organization, and causes it to lose market share. It's going to be other organizations and other individuals who are leveraging these tools. They're the ones that are going to start taking the jobs. They're the ones that are going to start gaining the market share. And so we have to lean into this. There's a lot of philosophical questions we need to ask and talk about. We do other sessions if you want to go deep on, kind of the existential elements, the philosophy behind whether we should use AI. And that would be a good conversation to have another time. Feel free to send me, a LinkedIn direct message or an email. We can have conversations about that too. But the reality is it's here, it's not going away. And so we need to learn how to leverage these tools together. Just for sake of time, because this is a little bit shorter, if you have a question, feel free to put it in the comments here. If you have some thoughts, feel free to share it. I want to continue this conversation, but let's just dive into 3 of our secrets here for just a moment. All right. Secret number 1, how to get more work-life balance using NLP AI. So what is NLP AI? NLP stands for Natural Language Processing Artificial Intelligence. And we want to encourage you to use NLP AI to create training sessions, leadership materials, new employee orientations, manager upskilling resources, things that you do as instructional designers, as L&D professionals. You can use this NLP AI to help you do this 90% faster. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment, and then I'm going to reshare my screen. And I want to take a moment just to show you how we would allow you to leverage NLP AI very, very easily without having to do all the prompt engineering and integrations, because I know that can seem like, oh, okay, that's awesome, but how do we do that? All right, so let me just share my screen here very, very quickly. And I want to just kind of talk a little bit about how different groups are doing this. All right, so I'm going to push share here, and let's just share this. This is our LandAI. Like I said, LandAI stands for Learning and Development Artificial Intelligence. And so this is an opportunity. We have several apps in our tech stack, and everything from, kind of slide decks to scripts to LandAI GPT, which is like Chat GPT, but it's been fine-tuned for AI. And so what we would do here at this point is we have the opportunity now to use NLP AI. You say, what exactly would NLP AI look like? Well, you could go and you pick a type of resource. Do I need a slide deck? Do I need a program script? Do I need a actual e-learning course? So we'd find one of these, and then we would click on it. Okay, once we have the type of resource, what template? Am I trying to make a slide deck for a workshop, a slide deck for a think tank, a slide deck for a coaching session? Do I need a program script, that I'm going to do hybrid? I'm going to teach this on my own in one of these. So you pick the resource you need, then you pick the template. Once you pick the template, you've got all these options. You can format the different colors. You You can pick the different image styles. You can actually upload all of your own brand logos to this. And you don't have to do this every time you create an asset. You do it once and it's in your user. You can upload your own branding for your company or for your consulting firm. And then every time it creates a resource or an asset as an instructional designer, it will upload your logo, your styling to it, and you can pick that. And so let's just say for a second, I'm going to do kind of a program on 4 styles of leadership, so I'll click that. I'm going to make a bold format and we'll go blue. I'm going to go generate here real quick. And then this wheel comes up and all of a sudden it starts generating. And then what we have from there is now we're going to get we're going to have an opportunity to have entire scripts that are now built for us. And we'll be able to utilize those. And it's created an entire PowerPoint for us, everything with our agenda for different styles of leadership. It's got photos. If we want to change the photos, we can change them. Want to change the context, we can change those. And it really allows it in a matter of seconds to create these PowerPoints. If you're like, I want different pictures, you can change the style of pictures that automatically get uploaded. You can add a new slide. You can regenerate. And so there are all these options that we have here as we are leveraging this NLP AI. But it's not just that. Now, what else do we have? AI said, Max Tegmark said this: AI can be our friend. It can help us do things that are dull, and it can free us to focus on creativity. It can free us to focus on compassion and other uniquely human pursuits. I've heard some instructional designers say, oh, man, what am I going to do, if AI can start doing this? Here, the reality is this: you are going to massively be able to increase your outputs leveraging these AI tools. They're not going to take your job. They're going to allow you to be 10 times better and really focus on the elements of the instructional design. That's not all the, crazy, like, how do I lay this out and how do I do research here? You're going to be able to really think high-end, strategic, creative, innovative, do the things that only humans can do, and then delegate the more mundane things to AI. And so this is exciting. Secret number 2, how to use computer vision AI to spend more time on the things you're passionate about and less time doing the boring, mundane tasks. So what is computer vision, CVAI? CVAI is a type of AI that allows you to change and manipulate images. A lot of CVAI is being used to create headshots. I know of companies where you can, just upload an average picture off your phone and it'll create a lot of different headshots, and professional postures that you can use for LinkedIn, that you can use for promotional materials. And you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars to go out and do a professional, photo shoot or something like that. This is really, really exciting. The way we were using CVAI a moment ago when we were talking about, man, how do we leverage some of this stuff? So let me show this to you in just a moment here. But we talked a second ago, there is the opportunity for us to actually go in and let's do this. Let's go to our scripts here. We'll make a workshop and do the same thing. 4 styles of leadership, just for the sake of illustration. I'll generate that. And really just within a few moments now, what we're going to have is an opportunity for an entire program script to come up. For those of you who are facilitators, for those of you who are training managers, for those of you who are instructional designers, and you have to create a lot of this stuff, this allows you to save tons and tons and tons of time by using NLP, natural language processing AI, or CVAI to create photos and to create all of these different tools. And we really see an opportunity for us to save massive, massive amounts of time. And so as we have the opportunity to move through this, we are going to be able to take the time that we save and put it on other uniquely human pursuits. PwC said this: according to a study, 54% of executives say that AI solutions implemented in their business have already increased productivity. How many of you have seen this? Maybe in the comments or in the chat. Let me know really quick. What, is there tools? Are you seeing your ability to be able to save time, to save resources, to save budget concerns as you're using some of these a lot of these are even free tools that we have access to really save some time. And so here's an opportunity for you to do just that. Number 3, how to cut costs and save money using machine learning AI. So I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but there are 2 different types of, well, there's more, but primarily for L&D professionals, there's 2 types of AI. And one of these types is called machine learning. And this is where basically tons of data is dropped into the AI, and the AI then takes it and it really just is able to learn patterns from all of that and then recreate stuff for us. And so using machine learning AI technology to identify patterns in learner data, predict learners' unique needs and custom preferences, and then create personalized and custom learning experiences that are tailor-made for them. So one of the things that we do in our enterprise solution for those of you who are with organizations is when we say customize, we actually integrate with the internal knowledge base of a company. So rather than using ChatGPT or some other large language model in order to build out these courses or to build out these PowerPoint decks or build out these programs, we're actually using your internal data. So it's highly, highly personalized. We're using your values. We're using your policies and procedures. We're using your training materials, your manuals. It's getting dumped, and that's where the AI is going to create the e-learning courses, to create all of the sessions, to create these PowerPoint decks. It's customized to you. But not just that. Now get this. This is what's crazy about machine learning. Each of your user employees can do a 10-minute psychometric analysis, and the AI will learn the individual user's learning style, each employee's learning preferences, learning their learning disabilities. They're dyslexic. Is there some ADD, ADHD going on there? What are the challenges? How do they listen, learn better through listening, whatever the case may be? The AI filters, and that's what makes it customized. So it's personalized to the organization, but it's all customized to the individual. We like to say we are doing for e-learning courses what Chipotle has done for burritos. Everybody who comes in gets their own little burrito just the way they want it. Now, because of AI and its ability to scale, we're going to be able to do this for every individual. Imagine if you as an instructional designer could go and say, hey, I can create courses for groups of people, for individuals. What would your manager, supervisor say if you could literally create this for them and not have to spend 5 hours each time, but you could do this in 60 seconds. You could do this in 90 seconds. Just think of how that would make you, how valuable that would make you as an instructional designer, how fast you could move through some of these different things. And so as we're moving through this, as you saw a moment ago, here's a script. And so maybe there's somebody and they need a program for something. And here's one on 4 levels of leadership. What's different than ChatGPT is you can go in and edit. It's got an internal native editor. You can add more content here. You could jump and say, okay, I want this, just like you would in Power, Microsoft Word or whatever the case may be. But here's where it gets really interesting. You could go, hey, this is a quote. This is a lesson it just created from a 2-word prompt on 4 styles of leadership: autocratic leadership, democratic leadership. Gave you quotes by people, statistics, case studies, action items. It gave you this 30-minute presentation that you could do on this particular subject. But what if you say something like, you know what? I want to go deeper into democratic leadership. I just put my cursor right here. I go generate more content, and I give me 3 reasons why democratic leadership is important. or whatever you want to talk about, generate. And rather than having to go research that, the AI will come back and it'll just plug that right in there for you. And so you see what it did. 3 reasons why democratic leadership is important: increased employee engagement, enhanced creativity. It even has some little statistics that it throws in there, higher job satisfaction. And so it's building this all out for you in real time. Maybe you say, oh, here's a quote here, but I don't like this quote. Maybe you just highlight it and then put change with AI, and it'll kind of do the same thing. And I'm just trying to give you a little bit of vision for how this machine learning technology can make a profound impact. Notice right here, we talked about these 3 secrets. And you say, why did you show us this picture at the beginning? Because you could learn how to do this all on your own. You could learn how to do the prompt engineering, you could learn how to do all the integrations, you could learn how to fine tune your own voice and your own style into all of this. Or, and that's the equivalent of standing in one of these long lines at an amusement park, or you could cut in front of the line if you wanted to. When I take my kids to Six Flags, we get those fast passes and we can cut in front, people who are standing there for an hour, and we just get there quicker. This is all we're doing with Land AI. You could learn it all if you want. You learn how to prompt engineer, or you could just take ours. We prompt engineered all our stuff into the back end, hundreds and hundreds of word prompts that give you exactly what you're looking for. All the integrations already built in for you, all of these things. So you don't have to wait in line and spend the next 2 years learning. You can start getting the impact of efficiency and speed. And you can do this. We have instructional designers who work on their own, who create with our products and then sell them to clients at typical prices. And they are literally, making massive amounts just in their ability to create materials so much faster and using it in that way. And so Mark Cuban said this: I don't care how big or small you are when it comes to artificial intelligence. If you don't understand it, learn it, because otherwise you're going to be a dinosaur within 3 years. I actually believe them. Things are going to be moving so fastly. We need to be learning these technologies. We need to be adopting them and going from there. So let me just take 2 quick minutes. All right. AI is not going to take your job, but people who are leveraging AI probably will. Let me take 2 minutes real quick. And I know, as was said a moment ago, this is a sponsored session. I'm going to give you that stuff for free, whether or not you jump in, but we're doing a launch promo for us. And if you want to just take 1 minute to share what that promo is on our website, if you go to landea.com right now, the slide deck generator that creates those slides instantly for you that are fine-tuned, for L&D, it's about $480 a year. You're going to be looking at $30 or $40 a month or something like that. The training session scripts that build out all the training scripts and all the notes, about the same. The Land AI GPT that is fine-tuned with personas for different L&D features, about $480 or whatever, give or take 30 or 40 a month, depending on what plan. But I want to say this: if you'll jump on board today with us, all right, we want to do all of this. Is typically about $197 a month is what you would, if you go to our app right now, our website, it's about $197 a month for all of these. But if you get involved today, all right, not only will I give you early access to the courses app, and this courses app is done next week. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Assessments, videos, not slide decks, but flashcards, simulations with the AI, all of this e-learning course built out literally in minutes. You just take that PowerPoint, that script, you push a button that says send this to an e-learning course. You can turn that into a SCORM file. It'll integrate with your current LMS if you're with an organization. So we'll make that for free for you if you jump on board now, as well as the ebook, the AI Edge. I'm going to give that to anybody who jumps on board in the next 10 or 15 minutes. We're going to give that to you. Now, this deal will be available for the rest of the day, but if you do this in the next 10 minutes, I'll throw in that book and we'll give you early access to the courses app. And instead of charging you $197 a month, today's price, we're going to give you an entire year of these courses. All right. 12 months, an entire year for $397. All right. This this price will never exist again. We're basically rolling it out in a few different environments. Luis was really kind enough to invite us here, and we want to make this available here to you. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to just take a quick moment. I'm going to put this in the chat real quick with where you can go to get this particular deal. And if this would be something that would be a help, then we want you to be able to use it. So we're going to put that right there. Anybody who wants to, if you get that in the next few moments, then we're going to take the opportunity to send you the book. We'll make sure you get early access to all 4 of our whole app stack generator app. Now, I do need to say this: when you're signing up, you have to right now use a Gmail account, or else it kind of messes things up a little bit. Our dev team is working on that. Use a Gmail account, and you can get that for $397. For the rest of you, if you'd like a chance to get a book, if you give me your email, you'll have an opportunity to get that book. The other thing I want to say here very quickly is if you kind of mention this whole community event in LinkedIn and put a hashtag, tag Landai, tag me, tag this event, the AI Labs, tag us, and then we're going to pick a few people, and I'm going to give you my book as well. So if you'll mention this in LinkedIn, talk a little bit about what you're learning in this event, what you learned from this session, and we're going to go through, and if you tag us, make sure you do that, and I will be giving away a few more of these books to those folks. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'm going to just take just a moment. I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to hide this just for a second. Let's see. Stop sharing. All right. Any questions? We have a couple minutes here before we're done. I know we kind of sped through some of that. Okay. We got people want to connect on LinkedIn. Sounds great. Some folks here dipping toes in the water. All right. So let us know in the chat. Anybody have any questions? I know Luis is here, and I didn't want to take a ton of time, but we just want to give you some tools. If you'll give me your basically your email, I'm going to send you the resources. I know we didn't have time to go through each one individually, but I want to send you that and make sure you get access to a whole lot of different resources that I'm using personally outside of Landai. That's been a help for me as an instructional designer.
Okay, great. So I see, yeah, nothing in the QA. Let's see. I see that a few people posted their email addresses. Elizabeth is wondering about recommendations on headshot AI platforms. I don't know of any in particular. I mean, how about you, Josh?
Yeah, and off the top of my head, I'll tell you what, if you'll drop your email in there, I will send you the resource, and we have several of those that we can use. So just send me the email right there, and I'll give you the list of those as well as others. To be honest, off the top of my head, I can't remember all the names. There are just so many right now, isn't there, Luis? I mean, it feels like every day I'm learning about like new AI solutions. So I put together a little list there, and there's 2 or 3 there that you can look at.
So Josh, tell me a little bit more about why you built the product.
Yeah, so I have my history as an learning and organizational development consultant. I've been doing that for 9 years, specifically within the tech vertical. And I was talking with some HRBPs who were developing some leadership programs, and they were really struggling to get their leadership program off the ground. It was taking them like 12 months with the instructional designers to get it developed, and then to do all the change management. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way to kind of expedite some of these processes. And that was right when some of these AI tools were starting to come out. And so I'm not really a tech guy. I'm more of an L&D guy. I'm one of you. And so I got with a team of my friends who we have over 100 years of L&D experience, instructional design experience. And we essentially tried to clone ourselves into some AI, and basically was like, wow, what if we could take AI and have it do what we do on a regular basis? And so we've spent the last year plus to fine tune some AI models. And basically it came out of that situation a couple of years ago where it was just taking so long for some of these things to be pushed through. And now we can do it much quicker, so we could focus on the actual thing we wanted to do. That was develop, leaders, not necessarily spend all of our time, just trying to work on the mundane stuff, but really get to the creative elements of it and the strategic elements. And that, as instructional designers, I think most of you would say that's the part I like to do, thinking through the strategy of it, thinking through, the psychological flow of behavioral modification and what change management, how is my content not just going to instruct them and give them instruction, but how is it going to transform them, and really cause habit changes. And we've tried to fine tune a lot of those psychological mechanisms into our AI.
Cool. Let's see. So are you primarily using like Chat GPT is kind of like one of the sources for what happens
Well,
in the Land AI engine?
it is on our, we use a couple of different models on the back end for our SaaS solution. But as I was saying in the actual presentation, for our enterprise solution, we actually integrate with a company's internal knowledge base. And so we created an Azure database. We throw all in their policies, procedures. We throw in all of their past trainings. And so the AI actually uses their content, sorts it out to create these e-learning courses, to create these sessions. And that's what really allows it to be customized at scale in a way that has been really difficult to do in the past, as fast as AI can do it.
What's the problem that that your product has solved for you that you kind of like to mention the most?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think it's just speed. I personally love instructional design, but sometimes it's really tedious to actually build out a deck or something like that, or to, type out, hand out notes that I'm going to want to use. And it's like, it's a necessary evil, right? We got to do it. It's got to be done. But I like to do it. I like more the strategy part of it, the more the psychology of, trying to come up with the content and the concepts and high end type stuff. And to be honest, while AI can help with that as a research assistant, I don't think it's going to replace anybody who's on this call today, because you're going to have to use imagination and innovation and creativity to ask good questions to the AI so that they're giving you good responses and they're giving you good output back. And so I think time saving is the best. Second thing I would say is, cost, saving us a lot of cost. And then third, the level of customization and personalization at scale. It just has never been possible before without AI.
What do you think, if we were to have this conversation again a year from now, how different do you think your product will be?
Oh, a year from now? Yes. Right now, there are some technologies that work, but they're just not economically viable yet. So one of the technologies we're playing with is, Louis, we could take basically deep fake you. So we take you, and we've seen deep fakes done nefariously with bad actors to cause, damage in the world. But essentially imagine, chief learning officer or an HR director deep faking themselves, putting in all of their past resources, all the trainings they've done in the past, and now they're able to train in the future several times in somewhat of a live case, because it's going to be their photos. We've dumped in all of their information, so it's their tone of voice, it's their content, but the person is going to be able to ask them questions. And because it's being driven by artificial intelligence, they will be able to answer those questions and not actually have to be there live and in person. So it's like a hybrid between live and evergreen that's going to be really unique. And so we're leaning into some of that, and that's really exciting. The other thing is a concept that we've referred to as omnipresent kind of generative AI. And this is where we're not quite here yet, but this is where some organizations are asking about giving access to the AI bots to be able to read certain emails. So that way it can recommend learning nudges and micro learning in the flow of work. They see emails around a situation that's happening all of a sudden in your Microsoft Teams or in your Slack. It's like the AI says, hey, would you like a mini course on this subject? Maybe there's an employee, engagement issue that's happening. And right there, it will not just prompt you to nudge you to take that, but it'll give you a little micro learning course, 2 minutes, give you an update. And then it's like, do you want more? And if you push yes, it'll give you the whole, 25-minute course. So these are all things that are kind of in our R&D department that we're starting to work on, and things that are possible, but the technology is not quite there to the degree that we could do it at scale at a cost that would work for most, small to medium organizations.
Cool, Josh. Okay, I got one last question here. This one's from Wendy.
Yeah.
Is your package deal today only for single users, or could a team of IDs utilize this under one subscription?
Yeah, no, it would be for one user. I will say, let's talk about that. If you want a team of users to use it, we'll figure out something that maybe would make sense. Typically, it's one. I have on a couple of occasions given it to if they'll get it, maybe we'll throw in one more user or something. But right now, it's a one user license. But let's talk about that because we want to be flexible with you. This is a very, very this cost is we're gonna be playing this out for the rest of today for your community, and but once the courses come out, we're going to the 197 a month price, and we're probably about 2 weeks away from that.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's it. I'm not seeing any other questions come in. You'll probably, Josh, want to take a look and see all the email addresses. There's a bunch that are in chat. I do get, it takes a little while, but I do get the chat text pushed out to me later from AirMute, okay. But I'm not sure. It usually waits for like about a week until after the event is completed.
Oh, I see. Let's do this then. I appreciate you guys sending these in. I'm going to try to get them, but if it takes a week for me to get it, if you want your stuff faster, then send me your email at LinkedIn. That's Joshua Ermler at LinkedIn. You can find me there. Send me your message. We'll get those out to you. Or you can go to josh@landai.com and that will send me an email as well. So let me just put that in the chat if somebody wants to copy it, and we can go from there. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate you.
No, thank you for supporting the event. And Joe Pulakino is asking, hey, Joe, is today's offer for the full suite of your products?
Yes, it's all 4 suites for the $397. Yep. And only 3 of them are finished. You got to wait 2 weeks, or that's why we're kind of doing the deal, is because you're part of our launch team to help us work out the wrinkles and stuff. So that'll be out in 2 weeks is the plan for the 4th app. But yes, it is the full suite.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close out the session, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate your sponsorship, Josh. Next session and the final session of the day, gosh, it's gone by so quickly, is Margie Meekham. And Margie has been on TLDC a bunch of times, neuroscientist. They call her the brain lady. Margie's going to be talking about AI in talent development. So please join us for that one. Would love to hear get more chat feedback from everybody on that one. I'm thinking about doing a talent development event later this fall. So I'm sure this is going to sort of affect how that program is put together. So please join us for the next one with Margie. And with that, Josh, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. You do have a booth. So maybe Josh might have his booth set up later today. He was having some issues with access, but there'll be ways to contact him and even do a table in there if you want to speak to him, possibly later. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.